So, welcome back to another episode of 3View. I realized I didn't actually describe what 3View was in better detail in the first episode, so we're still learning that. So basically, the idea of 3View is that the three of us, it happens to be three of us, so it might be more. We got myself, we got Dwayne, and we got Kevin.
Hello.
And of course, we got little Craig down here. On my screen, it's in this order. We're probably going to be recording from Dwayne's perspective, so I'm pointing at random directions. So the idea of 3View is that, I've always had this rule of 3 episodes to a show. Because sometimes a show has a really bad first episode, and sometimes, you got to kind of the first episode leaves on a cliffhanger. Oh my God, is it good? Blah, blah, blah. I always like to judge it by the first 3 episodes. That's always been my rule. And then of course you got people who are like, well, Ryan, what happens if, the later episodes suck? That's not my problem. Not even like joking and half joke, not joking, but there are going to be those shows that later episodes, kind of suck. And it sucks to say that. Like Soul Eater, fell off after that first half because they caught up to the manga and they made their own original story. It was not great. In fact, actually, today's anime had a very similar problem, but the interesting thing was they actually knew what they were doing.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Always... I can fire a lot of shots, trust me. Darling and the friends. My always thing was always to just give the first 3 episodes a go. There are times where I've always given other episodes more, and I still didn't like the show. Going on a small tangent, Dwayne always recommended me Kill la Kill. I watched the first 6 episodes, and I did not like it. It's not that it was bad. It was just, it didn't catch my attention. The characters were neat, but overall, I had no idea what was going on. So, I at least gave it the 6 episodes, but for general purposes, it's always 3 episodes. And if it doesn't keep my attention or, I find it interesting for 3 episodes, then that's the drop. So that's the story behind the name and the purpose of the show. Will we eventually do a series review of shows? That's possible. Because it's hard to go off of just the first 3 episodes when there's multiple seasons. Bleach, My Hero Academia, fucking any Gundam series, there's always at least 2 or 3 seasons per Gundam series.
One Piece.
One
Piece.
No.
One Piece watch party. Here we go.
We are doing a speed summary of One Piece if we ever do that.
Pirates
One
free,
Piece watch-a-thon.
Navy government bad. There you go. That's all you need. You're caught up.
I mean, it's like real life. Anyway, so yeah, that's the purpose of 3View. So today's episode is Trigun, the original version, not Stampede, but we might get to Stampede down the road. I know it just recently finished, so I definitely would like to give it a try. The CG animation seems kind of interesting, but that's the story for another time. So, would anyone like to make quick comments before I get started on the background? Kevin, you said you've never seen Trigun before this.
Yeah, that's right. This is my first time actually even considering watching the show.
Still surprises me.
I know it's you think it'd be right up my alley. It's got everything that I could love in a show like this. It's got tons of guns, hot dames, a slightly spaghetti western style vibe to things. It's charmingly beautiful in that way, and I'm still mad that I don't give this show a shot. I'm terrible at watching things. I'm horrible at starting to get into new ventures. But I gotta say, for me getting to sit down and just watch these 3 episodes back to back in a day was a very exciting experience, and it just made me want to keep going with this story. So you're gonna get a pretty high rating out of me, but I'll go ahead and shut up for now.
Thankfully, it only has 26 episodes too, so it's not terribly hard to catch up. So, I'm trying to find a better setup for the show. So I think what I'm going to do is obviously the intro of what we do, and not as detailed as it was this episode, but basically the same thing. And then I'm going to describe the show this time, because I think with Gundam I was kind of all over the place. I was like having history, and then it was like, oh, by the way, the show is about this, So Trigun is essentially a futuristic Western, we'll say. It is on, I don't remember if they named the planet in the first 3 episodes.
I don't remember a name.
So we'll say it's an unnamed planet, because it's definitely not Earth. If I remember correctly, it is not Earth. There's a story point later on that explains, but it follows these 2 women, Meryl and Millie. What is it? Meryl Strife and Millie Thompson is their names.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they work for I can't remember their agency. Something with a B.
I actually thought you would have more notes on this one. I was assuming you would have all this down.
I always forget. I should have wrote it down. I have like little Sparks notes. It's not, I forgot their company, but they work for an insurance company where they have to. What their objective is to try and find the man with the 60 billion.
Yeah. 60 billion.
60 billion double dollars. I don't even know what double dollars are. That's got to be a lot of money if it's got the double dollars. Like that's got to be like 120 billion or something.
It has to be. Like, that sounds expensive as shit.
Yeah,
I want some double dollars.
That's the only thing that makes sense. They have to find the man worth 60 billion double dollars, the humanoid typhoon Vash the Stampede. Can we talk about how cool his fucking nicknames are?
They're pretty rad.
Like, he gets Vash the Stampede in his name, and then he's got the nickname Human Typhoon. Like, bro, you can't top this. And basically, they're trying to find the real Vash the Stampede to hopefully not get him to destroy whole towns and hundreds of lives. How well that goes, you gotta kind of follow the show. So the name Trigun, actually, for a very fun fact, is a huge spoiler, so we're not going to get into that.
Are you serious?
Yes, actually. It
Holy
is a
shit.
very huge spoiler.
I had no idea. I just thought it was a good-ass name.
Yeah, Trigun is actually a huge spoiler for what happens later on in the show. Well, the series in general.
Oh, man.
Because, in the first episode, you only see him with the one gun. It's like, Trigun? What? Just try. You're like, what's going on? Like, there are 3 characters. Do they all have guns that are cool? Like, I'm already kind of giving away a little bit of the stuff, and people are going to be like, what the fuck do you mean here? So, Trigun was originally a manga series derived... I say derived, that's not the right word. Created by this guy, Yasuhiro Nightow. I don't know how to say his last name. It's literally Night and Owl. So it's like Nightow. I don't fucking know. I can't say his last name. It was published in... It wasn't actually shown in Jump. It was published by... Oh, God, my handwriting is garbage. Takuma Shoten? From April 1995 to January of 1997. The anime was then made in April 1st, actually, of 1998. Thankfully, Japan doesn't believe too much in the whole April 1st stuff, so, people didn't watch this like, oh, this has got to be a huge prank. It was directed by Satoshi Nishimura and produced by Shigeru Kitayama. And it was part of Studio Madhouse. So, they had some pretty big banger animes back in the day, even.
Yeah, this was their big blowout, Trigun, and...
No shit.
So like I said, the anime ran from April 1st, 1998, and ended September 30th that same year, with only 26 episodes. in the U.S., we got it as part of Adult Swim in March 31st of 2003, and it ran until May 13th of 2003. So, pretty short-lived overall, but I mean, like I said, they did the daily. Same thing with Gundam, honestly. When Gundam was on Toonami, is they did the
daily showcase,
the daily showings. Yeah. Fun fact too is that the producer Shigeru, he actually worked on Ninja Scroll as well as the 2003 Gungrave as well.
I don't know if Ninja Scroll is something you want to put on your resume, but more power to it. Apparently, it had good animation.
In the day,
so
back in the day, actually, it's surprising is there actually are a lot of cult followings for Ninja Scroll. Shut up! Get over here. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
Now, Yasuhiro, the creator of Trigun, also worked on several other big-name animes, too, such as... Penny, get over here. I need you to shut up. Thank you. I'm going to have you sit with me. Come here. Yeah. Where was I? Yes, the creator of Trigun actually worked on other big-name animes shortly after this too. He actually started with this one. It was Samurai Spirits. I don't know that one very well. So
I've heard the name.
That doesn't mean too much to me, but maybe someone who watches like, oh my god, he worked on But Yasuhiro actually made Gungrave, which explains a lot of the similarities in art style.
Yeah.
And also, and this makes a whole lot of sense to me after finding this out. He worked on Blood Blockade Battlefront.
Never heard of that one.
It is wonky.
Okay, I believe it.
I will send you guys a couple of clips from that anime once we're done here. The creator actually used to sell apartments while working on manga on the side, and it was actually bumming him out because he was really wanted to be a manga artist, but he needed the money, so he had to do more and more for the selling of apartments. And I think it was one of his friends. He was just like, "Well, hey, why don't you just do a manga?" And he made Trigun, and he did the Samurai Spirits, and then it blew up, and then he made Trigun, and there's a whole thing with Trigun, the manga. He actually switched companies and then had to more or less do a retelling of the story, and that's where Trigun Maximum comes in. But that's a whole other thing if we ever talk about manga. We're talking about the anime. The anime is... So, the anime... the director, Satoshi, actually changed a lot of the story for the anime. The anime actually at one point, which timeline-wise makes little sense to me, but I guess they kind of caught up or outpaced the manga, and so the second half of the anime actually interprets a different story or an original story. And for the most part, in the manga, Vash is the main character. Our gentleman in the red coat with the blonde spiky hair. Satoshi, the director, actually made Meryl, the girl in the white cloak, essentially the main character in the anime. And the writer for the anime, Yosuke Kureda, chose not to have Vash fire a single shot until the 5th episode to create this illusion that the Vash that we see on the screen is not the Vash Stampede they're looking for. Because, let's be honest, he's kind of acts like an idiot. But it's completely in his character, and we'll get into that in a minute. So, as you could probably guess, based on the style of the series, Trigun was much more popular in the West than in Japan. This is due to the Western-like theme with the guns and the cowboy-esque look and everything. With the Western names, you got Vash, you had Meryl, you had Millie. These weren't obviously traditional Japanese names. And it also lacked a lot of Japanese cultural elements, which actually hindered its popularity in Japan. I think it's a lot more popular now, but back when it first came out, it didn't get a lot of traction. The fact that we even got the anime here means that they almost banked on it, because if it didn't take off here, we definitely would not have a lot of the references and inspiration that Trigun influenced.
Yeah.
So another fun thing, well, I can't say this was fun for me. It actually, originally it was owned, licensed, owned, always confuses me. It was originally licensed by Pioneer USA, which then became Genion. But when Genion closed in 2007, all distribution of Trigun actually ceased. And it was in 2010 that Funimation bought the rights to Trigun. And then they even came out, and I can't blame them for this because they did, but they even came out on stage of some anime convention, and they're like, "We saved Trigun," and they did.
Fuck yeah, Funimation! Holy shit!
If it wasn't for Funimation, we wouldn't have the ability to watch Trigun. We might not even have Trigun Stampede, honestly. We wouldn't have all this other fun stuff.
Yeah, around 2010, I believe, is when it started. A lot of the companies we grew up with, like Tokyo Pop and stuff like that, started going under or not having the funds to keep their IPs. Funimation just started buying up all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah, and I bet they made a lot of bank off of a lot
Some
of
it, yeah. Some of it's just kind of on their streaming service, and people like that. But, yeah, they bought up a bunch of stuff recently. In the last 10 years.
Another thing, too, is the anime is actually a lot lighter in its content because the manga was much more violent, gory, and had a lot more sexual themes.
That's usually how it goes.
So I think that's another thing that kind of put a lot of the Japanese fans off at first. I don't remember when the manga came out in America. It might have been later. Also, here's a quick quiz for Kevin, mostly. Dwayne, if you want to try and take a guess too. Of the three main characters for the English dub, I will direct this to the English dub. Of the three main characters, who do you think had their breakout role for this anime?
Oh.
Do I know?
It has to be the actress who plays Meryl, right?
Final answer?
I go with what the dog says.
Okay. So, Trigun was Johnny Young Bosch's very first voice acting
son
role.
of a bitch!
In general, Kevin. Not anime, not cartoon, not video games. This is his first, at least his first credited voice acting role.
Is that really him?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
No way, man. Holy shit.
Trigun opened so many doors for Johnny Young Bosch.
That's fucking hilarious.
For those who are watching, I actually had to convince Kevin to watch the English dub of Code Geass because he had a huge bias against Johnny Young Bosch. I think I might have brought this up
It's nothing
last
crazy.
episode, but
And there's nothing wrong with him. Genuinely, generally, and unapologetically, Johnny Young, he does a great job of what he's doing. But you hear this, you hear someone in almost everything you're in, and you can pick it out, and you're like, God dang it, man! And again, he does a good job with his characters. I just joke around and say, hey, I wish somebody else would maybe get a turn. Because he's in everything.
What really ruined it for Kevin was the Akira redub.
Okay, again, he gets paid for what he does, and he does it well. But I appreciate and cherish the original dub more, just because of how
there's nothing wrong.
Just how
There's nothing
different
wrong with that.
and how different and authentic it felt.
It's just fun to tease. Yeah, no. So, like I said, Trigun was Johnny Young Bosch's very first voice acting role in general. At least, like I said, to being credited. I don't know if he was in anything else prior, but every bit of research I've tried to find, it says that this was his very first role. So, basically, outside of Power Rangers, there was a few years of... I think he had a lot of minor acting roles here and there, like live action, but I think it was just a lot of just minor stuff. I think he didn't start his band until later. Yeah, he was in a band too, and then he got Trigun and blew up from there. I mean, I don't really need to even say what his roles. He's Ichigo from Bleach. He's Lelouch from Code Geass. He's Yu from Persona 4 when he gets a voice. He's voiced. Honestly, he was my favorite take on Yukimura Sanada in Samurai Warriors until they stopped doing English dubs. Millie and Meryl, their voice actresses for the English dub that I know of, they weren't really in any breakout roles. They did a lot of side stuff. I think Meryl's voice actress did a couple of main characters, but I don't know any of them, any of the animes and any of the characters that they are. And Millie's voice actress did a lot of minor roles. They actually did a lot of Gundam together, the two of them. And then the same thing with their Japanese voice actresses. I don't know too much about what they did. The only thing I could really find on Vash's Japanese voice is Masoya Onosaka. Onosoka. The only big role that I could recognize without having to scroll through a ton of stuff was he was Don Patch in Bobobo.
That's fitting.
Don't laugh.
Goofball playing goofball. That's fitting. Jesus Christ! Everything comes back to Bobo.
That's a show I wouldn't mind doing 3 episodes of right there.
We'll definitely get to that. So yeah, that's the background of the show. Dwayne, would you want to start us off since Kevin started us off last episode?
Sure, I can do that. So I don't have a whole lot of detailed notes like I did with G Gundam, but this one's mostly because Trigun has a different feel for me than it did than G Gundam did. So I've watched through Trigun relatively recently. It was about, I think, 5-6 years ago. I finally went through all the episodes. I would suggest that, one, because of the whole Kevin hasn't seen it before, but also in case anyone else here hasn't seen it, try to stick to just the first 3 episodes because they're very episodic. For a good while, they're very episodic. They have a structure, and just like Kev said earlier, it's very spaghetti western. New town, new faces, new theme. So the first episode is all about just kind of setting, getting to know what the world is like, what the stakes are, where everyone's looking for the 60 billion double dollar man. You actually don't hear this from anyone except a bunch of people in the tavern. they're all talking about rumors saying, oh, he's been to like 3 towns and caused like millions of dollars worth of destruction. He said, oh man, he's like this big hulking man with a giant gun. No, I heard he was a fucking skinny man with like the best gun in the world. Like, it's all rumors and nothing, right? Us being the audience, not just because we have prior knowledge of it, but with all the promotion and the thumbnails and the posters, we know who Vash the Stampede is, but everyone in the world doesn't. So you're seeing them spin this tale of how amazing this character is, how cool this guy is, how destructive this guy is. And we get our girls, Meryl and Millie, coming in, doing the same thing, saying, "Hey, we're looking for this guy. He's kind of a big shot, right? We kind of need him." And everyone's like, "What? You bounty hunters just like everyone else?" Like, actually, no. We need him for other reasons, and that sets them up, which is nice. It gives them something. It gives them a different set of stakes than the bounty hunters. The bounty hunters are out for money and for blood, so they're gonna get your action through them, and through Meryl and Millie, we get our more humanizing moments. And it's they get set up really early. It's really nice, and then the action starts. And then the character that we all know is supposed to be Vash comes out. You're sitting there waiting for it. It's like, oh, he's gonna do the cool thing. I just saw this trailer on this old on this other VHS, and he was doing cool stuff. He's gonna pose, right? He's gonna do it. Oh, the shots got him all lined up, and then he starts running around crying, pleading for his life. And immediately, expectations shattered. The genre is subverted. You're sitting here like, well, if this is our protagonist, what the fuck am I here for? And you keep going, and I have it written down, he is a lovable fuck up. That is what Vash is. You see that very early on. No matter what they do, they can't hit him. You're thinking, oh, it's just blind luck, and he tries to play it off as blind luck. But when he actually applies himself in that episode, there is more going on than he's letting you see. And it is very, very, very much what I would like to say of the era, because there was a couple other shows around this time here in the States that did something similar. This other notable one being Cowboy Bebop. Very, very episodic in nature. It's got its story, but it plays second fiddle to the characterizations and how they just kind of get around their ways. I would even be willing to say that this was probably being compared to Cowboy Bebop in a lot of ways at the time. This is where Cowboy Bebop...
It's funny...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's funny you say that, actually, because on your first point about how he's a lovable fuck-up, the creator actually wanted to make him, goofy, but, very clearly he's skilled. He's actually a pacifist. Like, he doesn't want to kill. And you find out why later on, no spoilers. But also, a lot of people, do that comparison of Cowboy Bebop. And some people actually thought they were in the same universe, by all accounts.
I would believe that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they're not.
Believe that. I would believe people believe that.
a lot of people thought they were the same universe because of how much alike Vash and Spike are.
Yeah. Very, very similar in character, and the episodic nature helps with that. It very much helps with the idea of, here's your character, here's what he is supposed to be like. Watch him unfold. And so, going off the first episode, you get some cool little inventive gadgets. It's shown really early on that it's supposed to be more futuristic, Mad Max instead of Blade Runner, futuristic. We're in spaghetti western, so we're going to get some wild gun designs, but it's very, very clear that whatever tech we're using, it's not going to be lasers and beam swords. It's going to be fucking giant metal boomerangs and chains. So it's really nice, and a really nice different pace, because I think at the same time there was a lot of sci-fi stuff popping around. So Gundam and stuff like that.
1998. Yeah, there's quite a bit of the sci-fi surge back then.
Mm-hmm.
I think Outlaw Star came out around that time too.
Outlaw Star is another thing we'll talk about. It was unfortunate enough to have to be compared to Cowboy Bebop, and they are two separate entities.
It's funny. I know of Outlaw Star, but every time I was watching it, I just kept thinking to myself, like, does this remind me of Outlaw Star?
Outlaw Star deserved better. So, right out the gate, the opening song for Trigun is a fucking banger.
Yes, it is.
Like,
absolute banger.
I could sit there and listen to that opening all day.
Way to get us on the edge of our seat without nothing happening. Oh.
Yeah. Absolutely gives everything away, though.
It gives a lot away.
Like, you're like, oh, look, he's in the scene all the time. He must be Vash. Look at this guy. Look at that guy. I don't know who that is, but oh man, what's going? It gives a lot away. Like if you actually like watch the opening, it gives a lot away. I don't look because I like the sound of the song. But then I've also seen the series, so I already know what's going on. The opening scene with Vash in the bar, just sitting there enjoying his drink, and he just so happens to be sitting where the sign was, and it blocked all the bullets. Just perfect. Vash is probably one of my favorite characters of all time. Voice, ace. Character design, great. Skills, just up there. Great character overall. Just fun to watch on screen. Millie, let's talk about Millie for a little bit, because that scene where they go into the bar trying to ask some information, the guys are all harassing him, and she accidentally just casually drops this fucking. How much weight has to be put into something for it to just obliterate a table and cause it to launch into someone's face? Because that gun hit that table so hard, it knocked that dude out.
That thing weighs like a couple 100 pounds.
She is OP.
Yeah.
Millie's
you cannot
the best.
tell me otherwise.
I knew there was a reason I liked her the moment I saw her fucking drop that thing. I was like, holy shit, I am in love.
And just how casually she one-hands it and just slings it back on her arm. I love the first episode. It's a great opener for such a goofy little show that I recommend everyone watch it. When they finally got with when you see the big boomerang dude, the green mohawk guy who people kept confusing for Vash, when he finally did capture the Vash that we know. And, Millie and Meryl show up. And then that one bounty hunter dude who's got the sickest rifle I've ever seen. Practical? No. No. But that thing was cool to watch to shoot. Like,
yeah.
It just kept looping the barrels.
Mm-hmm.
That whole mix-up of, oh, you're the real Vash. You're the real... it was that Spider-Man meme.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that one was extremely hilarious. And then, of course, all of Vash's antics during the whole thing about how he's running. They don't even comment on it, but he's running per speed to those ostrich horse things.
What are they called? The Thomases? The Thompsons? I think they're Thomases.
Were they called the Thomases?
I think so. I think they're Thomas.
I don't remember the names at all. They were in like one episode.
I'm going to look it up.
The fact that he was just casually keeping up with his arms tied behind his back and still just eating the donuts that they had, like, first off, I'd have been looking at him like, wait a minute, what's going on here, But just all of his antics, just always, it had me laughing the entire episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love I love the first episode. I love the opening. I love the intro. I love the characters. There really, to me, there really wasn't any major faults with the opening episode.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I could think of was the fact that the intro did show a lot of things that would have made you, if you paid attention, like, oh, what's going on? But a lot of kids watch it, even if it was on Adult Swim. A lot of kids would watch it and they wouldn't pay attention. They just see cool guy with cool gun that never fired a single shot, and yet still ended up winning by like you said, the dumb luck.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just overall, just a great solid first episode. Honestly, if we were called One View, that would have been an eighth one right there.
If I could make one change with the first episode, I would probably employ the tactics that a lot of the newer shows have been doing, and that's where the first episode shows its opening as the end credits sequence.
At the end, yeah. No, that
just jump right into it.
That's always a great thing that I love that the new animes are doing that nowadays, and different times. Because Cowboy Bebop did the same thing, and they didn't even introduce half the characters.
Nope.
Until way later.
That's true.
Which small tangent. When I was a kid, I never understood that when it was Ed's turn to be on screen, that she was upside down.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was just some dude with the biggest mustache beard combo. I'm like, when does he show up?
It's fair.
He never showed up. I didn't know where he was.
He got shot down. It's fine.
Yeah, he got shot down.
It's fine. It worked itself out. It's okay.
Yeah. Ed did not translate very well in that live action.
Still ain't seen it. Still not gonna see it.
Credit to the actors, and I feel bad because they did put a lot of heart into the show. No, it was not good. Yeah. Would I have given them a chance of a second season? Maybe. Maybe. I mean,
apparently the best parts of those live action one was just when it starts up and they're just shooting the shit and talking about goddamn nothing was the best parts, and then when they try to do the story stuff is when it falls apart.
Yeah. I think they should have tried to do an original story, but I think they tried to go with what the anime was going. But that's a story for another time. Maybe that'll be one episode we do a 3-view on. I don't know.
Maybe there's not a whole lot of them.
True. So going on to the second episode, I'll open up, and then Kevin, you can take the third episode to start.
Cue.
Girls are absolutely fucking stupid. The fact that they still, after all that, they're like, oh, there's no way he's Vash the Stampede. And literally, Millie even starts calling him, oh, hey, Mr. Vash. It's like, come on. This episode really didn't, I'm going to say it right out the gate. Second episode was kind of weak.
Out of the three, yeah, it's the weakest of the three.
It gave you some decent world building. It gave you, a little bit more idea of what kind of person our Vash is.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just weak. Hell, my notes are just 4 words, really. It was it was not a bad episode, but it didn't tell anything unique. It didn't introduce any major reoccurring characters.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those, town of the week, runoffs or whatever. I thought it was super cool when Millie pulled out the jacket guns. That was crazy with all the little pistols or not Millie, Meryl has with all of her little pistols going on. Little freaking firecracker that she is.
Yeah.
And then of course the the one female character that was introduced, Mary Ann, I think she's got good taste for seeing what Vash really is at the very end. Obviously, he's a bit of a womanizer, which doesn't age very well in nowadays standards.
They usually don't.
But he had a very genuine heart on getting things solved, and he's always trying to make sure people come out of things alive. I mean, he doesn't even he tries his best to not even kill the bad guys. So it's like, the fact that she sees it and our two main characters don't, it's just like, you dumb motherfuckers. Just but yeah, like I said, of the three, episode 2 is definitely the weakest in my opinion. But it was still a fun episode to watch. So
I don't have a whole lot to say on episode 2 because of that reason, but I think what it was designed for, I think it succeeded. It's just given us more interactions between the girls and Vash. They were on screen together more this time around. You got to see them work off each other. You got to see a little bit more of how the girls act and think, and you got to see more how Vash acts and think. And just having them play off each other, I think, was the goal of this episode. It wasn't the best one out of the 3, but it definitely, I think it did what it was designed for.
Kevin? Any opinions, or do you want to jump to the next episode?
Honestly, I thought the second one had a pretty fun little adventure going on for it. I can go ahead and agree with you guys and say out of the 3 that we got to watch, it does feel the most kind of humdrum. Like, yeah, it's an adventure, but we also kind of know where this is going. Rich guy has a thing that everybody wants. Rich guy gonna lose it by the end, and in the end, everyone was happy and it all worked out. Kind of. They did end up flooding the town. So a very gray area win there.
Very gray
But
area.
yeah, no.
Fair.
We can jump into episode 3. It's fresh in my mind because I literally just got done watching all these.
I think episode 3 is the strongest out of these 3 anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I can say for a fact that, at least for me personally, every episode continually gets better, and we get to enjoy a lot more of these characters. Getting just anything we get to do where we actually get to be, like, involved in some wordplay in Vash's antics are fucking just incredible and just fun to do. The drunk guy side plot in this one, and the whole thing about the gunsmith was super, super fun. And the drunk guy made me so irritated to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm not going to have a beer tonight. Fuck this guy. Something about him made me just not want any alcohol, period.
It's fair. It's hard to want some when you watch a man that's drunk 24/7. Waits on drunk to go buy more drunk.
I don't know if you guys have already... I'm not going to lie. I'm spacing out. I'm so tired. But
no, you're good.
I don't know if you guys already discussed it yet, but I just love how much variety we're getting out of every single, like, nemesis for Vash that gets deployed on every episode.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like, every single guy and crew has their shtick, their look, their motto, and their swagger, and it's just so fucking tight. It's my favorite thing about these, like, spaghetti western style shows, that you always get these kooky maniacal looking dudes to just come in and, like, throw some terror down the way. With the third episode, you don't get a lot out of them this time around, but the guys that we do get are super silly. Main character bad guy dude has a freaking 2 pistols that also act like lighters, which was ridiculous, and it was so kooky. And I'm like, man, why have I never thought about that? That's fun. And later on, we don't even get to see him. We don't even get to see him use those things. He just pulls out this great old super Gatling gun that comes out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. This show is specifically for you, Kev, because you love designing your different guns and stuff.
Oh,
you're going to get a lot of ideas, because that's not even the craziest one that comes into play.
And that's insane to me, because we've seen some kooky stuff already.
Mm-hmm.
Light spoiler, but I can't wait till we get to the saxophone episode.
This is just a really fun show. That third episode is just a blast.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to unravel the mystery of the legendary gunsmith man and the reasons why he does what he does was very, very cool. And I like that we get some more mystery out of this show. I hope we get more cool reveals like that as we continue watching.
Mm-hmm.
Very very heartbreaking when you find out what was going on too.
Yeah.
Absolutely, poor guy. I would be crushed and wouldn't want to do anything for anybody ever again after that either.
It's like you said, when you first see him, you're like, man, this guy's just an awful person, like an awful drunk. I don't want to drink anything. And then by the end of the episode, I'm like, beer to you, man. You know, just like, like, I mean, because like, think about it. He wanted to help defend the town, so he made everyone guns without charging anyone for it. And then one of those guns gets used to kill his wife and child. Like that's, yeah, I'd probably stop doing whatever I was doing too, honestly. Like.
And that allegory gets used an awful lot. It's a very common story thread, especially for when you're trying to tell a story about war and anti-war and stuff like that. It's always a, hey, we're gonna do this to arm ourselves. Oh no, the thing we did to arm ourselves is starting to harm ourselves, and it's always like a cyclical thing to kind of like get you going. But the message in this one is really nice. Instead of it being guns are bad or war is bad or you have to fight to defend yourself or whatnot, it's you could make things worse, but it's better to try to protect the things that you want to protect instead of let someone just take it. It's got a really, really good message with that.
Yeah. Yeah, so one thing too, the absolute disrespect Vash had with that boot knife.
Yeah.
Like, he just like, oh man, you got a flat, that sucks. Like,
okay, real talk. I was not expecting that boot knife at all. I was like, that's not this guy's repertoire. What the hell?
I can't remember if that ever comes back, but it's great
it
that
does.
It's there. It does? Okay.
It comes at least one other episode it comes back.
I would have been so happy if that was the only time we saw him do that thing. Like the writers were just like, we gotta give this guy a flat tire. What do we do? Boot knife? Boot knife.
Just fucking pull it out of his ass.
Oh, Kevin, just wait till you see Wolfwood. Then you can get your kicks out of stuff that happens that should just like one-offs. And then when everyone in the town just started pulling out guns and aiming it at this dude, like the
hell yeah, dude,
the guy who's trying to pretend to be Vash, it's just I was like, bro, everyone's pulling out the straps. Oh, jeez.
You know what they say? It takes a village to kill one man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so overall, I think even just like G Gundam, I mean, just watching the first 3 episodes makes me want to rewatch the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, what's funny is I actually did that only a couple of years ago. It was like 3 or 4 years ago. I went through all of Trigun because I love that show. So I would definitely highly recommend anyone who hasn't seen it to definitely go watch it. It's one of those timeless classics.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was saying with the whole background of it is Western audiences actually saved that series. It's one of the very few anime where it thrived more in the West than it did in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And it there's very good reason for it. It's got great story. Hell, can't remember the name or who he writes for, but this one big name critic at the time, for like movies and TV shows and stuff, gave it an extremely high review,
mm-hmm.
saying that yes, it's got its goofy, campy moments here and there, but it tells such a great story that it's worth it if even if that's not your cup of tea. So yeah, I would definitely always recommend this anime to anybody. And Kevin, I'm glad that you finally watched it. Like I said at the beginning, it still surprises me that you've never seen it, but I'm glad we finally got a reason to have you watch it, and I do hope, even if it takes you a while, I do hope you end up finishing it.
Oh, dude, I'm so into it right now. I was like, I just finished. We looked at the time and I was like, oh man, let's hurry up and get this over with so I can go and watch some more. I'm so ready to watch more.
That's not a shining endorsement. I don't know what is.
I mean, genuinely, dude, guys, seriously, this is why this is a fun show for us. We get to watch 3 episodes of some show, and then we're like, oh, cool, let's watch more.
And I think it's a very... I watched the first episode in Japanese today just to kind of do a little small comparison, and the voice acting is good in both versions, but there's an extra charm with the English dub. It might be nostalgia, it might be because it's what I'm used to, but there's an extra charm with the English dub that I think is lost with the Japanese one.
I will say that I think Trigun is one of those very few. And, I try not to be one of those, subs is better than dubs, but 9 times out of 10 it kind of is to me. I will say Trigun is one of those very few where the English dub is just far superior.
It's very solid.
There's very few anime I can say that for. Trigun, Dragon Ball Z, Code Geass for me personally. Those are some of the big ones that, I think the English dub is better than the subtitle one. Any other final little notes before we do our spin to win?
Yeah, I do have something actually.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, we didn't do this last time, but I wanted to go ahead and bring up, where did you guys watch fuck, I can't remember the name. There, sorry. Lost my train of thought there. Super hard. Where did you guys watch Trigun at? And where can we recommend others to do the same?
I personally watched it on Crunchyroll. Yes, I know that Crunchyroll's still going through a lot of the, I'm not controversy, but I know gets a lot of heat and stuff for how they handle certain things. But
there's a little controversy going with Crunchyroll right now.
Okay, see, I'm not too aware, and I don't want to get too into that. But
oh no,
Crunchyroll for me is just, it's cheap-ish. It's like $8 a month. There could definitely be worse. I mean, look at Hulu and Netflix. I think is Trigun on Netflix too still, or did they finally take that off?
So I was gonna chime in with my end. It's not on Netflix, but it is, the English dub is on Hulu, and with Crunchyroll and its controversies, all of these are always gonna be up to discretion, viewer, up to however you do it. But the official way to find these would be Crunchyroll. It's got both the dub and the sub. It's also got the, I believe it's the movie. The Maximum is the movie.
Yeah, the OVA,
or OVA.
Badlands?
Yeah, Badlands.
Badlands?
That's what it is. So it's got that on there all in one spot for you to officially watch. But if you don't want to contribute to Crunchyroll, it is, the English dub at the very least is on Hulu. And I know with my niece and nephew, I've got the Disney bundle. So I think it's about $15 a month, and you get Disney, ESPN Plus, and Hulu on it. So it's a way to get to it. It's an alternative way to get to it. Nice, simple, easy.
I personally will not. I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't get it. I just don't personally, condone pirating. But there are, a number of sites on there too, so that's always an option. But yes, how I watched it was Crunchyroll.
I went through Hulu myself. That was the first time I went through it as well. I went through it through Hulu.
That's also where I watched it, as it was recommended by the homies. I just looked online. You can obviously, if you end up really liking the show, there are multiple ways to now have access to the show to have it just at home. So there's always supporting the official release if you actually end up wanting to keep it forever. Which is what I did with G Gundam. So there's always an option for that. Prices don't seem too crazy.
I might buy them.
So
buy the DVDs.
you might actually want to come up and do that if you end up enjoying the show. So those are all your options for what you want to do later on down the line.
All right. So
spin to
with
win.
That being said, yeah, spin to win. So I actually switched out one of them. Let's see if I can pull this in here.
Don't forget to mute your mic when you do it.
Yes, I'm going to mute my mic this time.
No, I want to hear the clickety clack.
So I actually switched out To Your Eternity for this other one that I haven't watched it, but it's been popping up a lot. It's a high card. I really don't know what this one's about. But I left Bloody Daddy's on there, Blue Lock, Witch of Mercury, especially because I think it's this weekend that season 2 of Gundam Witch of Mercury starts. So there's that. And then I also, obviously replaced Trigun with Ningen Fushin, which is this one about how 4 down and out characters from a thing have to party up. So we got a couple of other options, but starting next week, there are actually going to be a bunch of different ones because... No, not next week. Well, yeah, next week's spin will be a couple of new ones because by that time, a lot of the newer anime that are coming out this season should have their 3rd episode. And, I would like to... Obviously, we got a lot of weeks to do all these different shows. Whether we get to all of them, that's a whole other thing. Mm-hmm. But each anime season, I would like to at least try to get a few of the brand new stuff. So that's what we'll do, at least for a couple of spins. And then I'll start throwing back on, recommendations and, some older titles just so we can go through those as well. Because like I said in the last episode of our show is that, if you watch an older show, maybe you don't remember the show well enough and maybe you don't remember it and maybe it's not as good as you remember it. I mean, I don't remember. Do you guys remember if I brought my example of Dragon Ball GT into the thing?
I don't remember if you brought it up, but GT is a whole other beast. If we ever get into the Dragon Ball stuff, I got some stories for you.
I will defend GT. I don't care.
GT has a lot of good stuff in it.
GT was fun. Super Saiyan 4 is the best design I've ever seen.
4 is great.
God and God Blue don't compare. The reason I bring that up, right, is I think I was telling Kevin about it actually a couple of years ago. I was hyping up GT. I'm like, man, I love GT because there was this one part where Goku or Gohan hadn't fought for a long time, and then he just shows up and starts beating on people. And I went and found the clip, and he got his ass beat. I was like, I don't remember this for the life of me. Yeah, I want to go see Gohan beat the crap out of a bunch of people. He got his shit rocked.
And that happens more often than you think, believe it or not.
And it's so disrespectful, too.
That's why he got his own movie.
Such a good movie.
I haven't seen it yet.
Movie. Really?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, dude. Man. We gotta go watch it, you and I, man. You're gonna freaking love that shit, dude.
That's what I hear.
Was a great story, but it was a great watch.
Oh man, so worth it.
So anyway, to the spin. Are you guys sure you don't want me to mute? I mean,
you do whatever.
No, I'm kidding, dude. You do what you want. You go mute if you want to.
You do whatever.
Okay, I'm a mute because. I think last time it was so loud and sharp that it didn't even pick it up in the recording.
I think it auto muted. There's a built-in feature for that.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna. Oh god, I don't want to mute Discord, but then it still pops up in Audacity. But oh well,
Don't
if
worry
it happens,
about
it
it.
happens.
Don't worry about it.
Not a peep.
What's
Okay,
that
So
one?
what do we get?
I might have to fix my spin because this is the second time it landed on a red. So this would be. I kind of wanted to. I kind of want to just like. Oh no! It landed on yellow because I want to watch Gundam of Mercury again. But so this one is the Ningen Fushin. I will find you guys because that's not even the full name. But I will.
Oh,
I will
shit.
find. I will. Yeah, I will get you guys which anime that is. I think Dwayne, you might know which one it is. It's the one where it's got the dragon girl and the little blonde witch lady. And the
What
drunk
the
priest.
fuck is this?
Yeah, see?
Oh, you know what? I think when I hopped on Crunchyroll earlier, I think I passed by the thumbnail for this and it said the exact same thing. All right, well, this will be an interesting watch. That's for fucking sure.
So like I said, aside from Gundam, I haven't seen any of these. I mean, I know a lot what happens with Buddy Daddies, but like a lot of these I haven't even seen yet. So it'll be kind of new for me as well.
Mm-hmm. And I figured since we're getting in the swing of things, Kev and I will start building our mini lists for you to put on your thing, so you don't have to have arrows each time.
Oh, it's all good, bro.
I also, however we want to do it, that I think the more we have, the better. But at the same time, I know the arrows just kind of make it easier because then it's just a list of 5.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, whenever you guys want to add the recommendation, like your recommendations or your suggestions, I definitely would appreciate it because then that gives us more variety, and variety is the spice of life. Like Spice of Life, I'm going to try this Pepsi Peeps before we leave.
Oh, that's how we're ending this?
Yes, this is how we're ending this tonight.
That's how we're ending this? With
I thought you were
screaming
gonna
vomit? Okay.
Dude, I hella forgot about that. I thought you were gonna do that before you even started recording. I completely forgot all about that.
Nope. So, for any viewers out there, a dumb thing that I have, and I'm not going to get too into detail, whenever I see an exotic, and I stress exotic, whenever I see a different flavored drink, like mango Pepsi, which really wasn't that bad. I think the salted caramel Pepsi was some of the best drink I've ever had.
That sounds fucking disgusting.
It was amazing, Dwayne, and if I could ever find a bottle, I'm having you try it. Stop being mean. I've even tried, and this was a bad one for me. I tried the Fireball, or not the Fireball Mountain Dew. I tried the Fire Pepsi. That was basically just shitty Fireball. I tried the Hot Cheetos Mountain Dew.
Oh boy! Yikes!
That was a drink. That was a drink that I've ever drank.
The drinkiest drink I ever drunk.
It was bad. That's putting it lightly.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't even hot, but it had something that stuck to the back of your throat, and then when you try to swallow, you're like, oh god, it was not a fun experience. I tried the Mountain Dew. A lot of the issues I have is with Mountain Dew. I tried the Mountain Dew Ginger Snapped, which was the gingerbread themed Mountain Dew, and that basically was just dish soap. They just threw dish soap and put carbonation in it and gave it a bottle. So this one is, like I said, it's the Pepsi Peeps artificial marshmallow.
Fucking Christ!
So, I'm probably gonna hate it.
You got your bucket ready?
It even smells bad. Jesus Christ! Smells like shampoo.
Get all that sugar in there.
Oh no.
Verdict says?
Eh.
Yeah.
It's a marshmallow. I'm not gonna lie. I think I psyched myself out at first, and I thought I tasted something at first that made me gag. So I didn't, I didn't spit out all over camera, but it didn't really have a flavor.
That's disappointing.
The smell was off-putting. But the flavor was kind of mellow.
And if there's some weird clash with the sugar and carbonation.
It probably is, yeah. There is a slight aftertaste. It's neither good nor bad, but yeah. So there we go. Pepsi Peeps. I don't recommend it.
So we're gonna just have Ryan's soda corner at the end of each podcast. Now is that what's going on?
I don't know if we're gonna do it every episode, because that's. I'm gonna have to. If I were to do that, I'd have to go out and find all kinds of different flavors. And some of the flavors they don't even make anymore. I'm just gonna start grabbing random drinks at Bevmo. Be like, this is a.
Go to the World Market, Trader Joe's.
I mean, I wouldn't, not to extend our time too much, but I wouldn't mind having some kind of segment at the very end that's unrelated to the show. I think it'd be fun.
We could.
We could show Kevin's art once in a minute, or we can do the soda, or Dwayne, you can find some thing from your cons. I have no idea. Probably find some foreign candy there.
Oh, probably
give that a go. If it's ever something that needs to be tested, but taste tested, but you guys don't want to do it, I'm always down to die.
Maybe I'll get a box sub or something.
So, other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed our second episode, and have a good night.